Sloppy guitars sound thin and weak. Tight guitars sound massive and heavy. And if you're recording your own guitar performances, there's a good chance you should also be editing them. But editing guitars is not the same as editing other instruments. Guitar audio is unique, and if you do this the wrong way, you'll end up with guitars that lose all their aggression, or worse, with phase problems and artifacts. Now, I've tracked and edited thousands of guitar performances in my career, and today I'm going to show you how to edit guitar like a pro, so that your performances sound pro. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about turd polishing here. If you can't play your instrument, I can't save you, or won't save you. I'm talking about tightening up the performance so the song sounds as good as possible. Sloppy rhythm guitars are distracting, and distracting music is not good music. Now, this is about the time where some of you are saying, editing guitars is cheating, play it until you get it right. And while I partially agree, nothing beats a great performance. The fact of the matter is, most people need some level of editing to their performance, and let me tell you why. If you're watching this video, the chances are you don't make a living from your music. You have other obligations in your life with limited time to record, let alone practice. Which means, playing until you get it right may delay your release for weeks or even months if you self-record, and it's going to be more time and money if you record in a studio. Bottom line, editing is a standard procedure for everyone, even signed artists. Now, if you cannot play live what's on your record, I agree, that's cheating. But with a few minor moves, a good guitar performance can become a great guitar performance, and that's what's going to make your song sound heavy and huge. So let's open up a session and I'll show you how to edit guitar the right way. Okay, before we start cutting up audio, let me give you a pro tip to help set you up for success before you even hit record, and that's to track in sections, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. First, playing the same riff over and over improves timing. Think about the last time you were at band rehearsal. I bet after you played that song for the 3rd time in a row, it felt effortless. The more you play the riff, the more locked in you'll be to the tempo. The second reason is stamina. Yes, when you play live, you're gonna have to play the song from start to finish. But you're not playing live. You're tracking a record, and it's gonna live forever. I bet you want the 3rd verse and chorus to be just as tight as the 1st verse and chorus. If you track in sections, your right hand will be just as fresh at the end of the song as it was at the beginning of the song. And lastly, your tuning will be more locked in. Now, what I'm about to say may be considered sacrilege, but I don't recommend tuning after every take, and I'll tell you why. Every time you tune your guitar, there are really small micro variations in the tuning, even if the tuner is telling you that you're perfectly in tune. And when your stereo rhythms are playing at the same time with those little variations, you get this chorus effect. And not a good one, a weird one. That's why I always recommend playing a section 4 or 5 times, take the best 2 takes, and move on. If your guitar is properly set up, it'll hold tuning. All right, let's edit some guitars. All right, so the first step in editing really isn't editing at all, it's comping. And you do this while you're tracking. If you track in sections, as you can see with this highlighted track here, this is all the sections that I tracked for this song. And if you pull down the drop-down menu, you'll see all of these takes here. So I tracked this section in 6 takes. Now, sometimes comping means listening back to all the takes and selecting the best take. Other times, it might be necessary to take the best pieces of takes and then Frankenstein them together. So right here, we have this breakdown. Here's what it sounds like soloed. So I use Logic, and in Logic, you have these take folders where it allows you to quickly swipe and select whatever pieces you want for each take. So out of these 6 takes, you can see all the red regions that are selected is the usable final take for this particular guitar part. So check out how I did this. All right, we have to talk about the most crucial aspect of guitar editing, and that is the pick attack. Whether you're comping performances or cutting up audio, never ever cut off the pick attack. So right here, we're looking at a guitar waveform. This transient right here, this big spike, that's not the pick attack. It's actually this small bit that's right before it. You don't want to cut that off. Now we can listen to what it sounds like. Doesn't sound like much, but that's where all the aggression and bite of your guitar comes from. If you cut that off, your guitars are going to sound lifeless. I also have to give a big warning here. Never ever use flex time or elastic audio or any of that stuff to edit guitars. If you try to time stretch guitar audio, it sounds really phasey and strange. If you've ever learned that the hard way and tried time stretching guitar, let me know in the comments below. All right, another way you can use comping to your advantage is when you have a difficult transition or a little lick that's really hard to play clean. Let me show you what I mean. So you're about to hear a guitar riff that has a little lick at the end that was really difficult to play clean. With the transition on my fret hand, it was just difficult to not have the low string ringing. Check it out. So I heard that while I was tracking and decided to play just that lick by itself and then comp it in. That's this little section right here. So if I'm doing this the right way, again, you don't want to cut off the pick attack. So I'm going to select it starting here, and I'm going to end it before the pick attack of the next guitar hit, which is right here. So now when we listen back, this should sound really clean. Again, listen to the before. And listen to the edit. And I should say, this doesn't just go for guitar. This is how you edit bass as well. So as you could see with this drop-down folder, I played this, I don't know how many times, I can't do math, from take 18 to take 23. So after I played all these, I went back and I listened to which ones locked in with the drums the best. So for example, I looped this section here. Now I settled on take 23, but let's listen to all of them. That was early. That was early. That was close. Not bad. If you listen back to what we just did, take 23 is the clear winner, which is what I ended up using. And I did this with all of the takes. So this next part here, same deal. So I settled on take 22, but let's listen to all of them. Second note wasn't hit hard enough. That wasn't bad, but I played something I shouldn't have played, so that wasn't usable. Not bad, but that little quadruplet there at the end there wasn't good. Or is it a quintuplet? Quintuplet screwed up again. That was pretty good. I think 22 is definitely the winner. Now you might be asking yourself, is that really how you track guitar and bass? Yes. For every artist that tracks here, this is how we do it. I always want your best performances going on your record, because I don't want you cringing when you listen to it 5 years from now and you hear that little palm mute that sounds terrible. All right, now that we've talked about comping, let's actually talk about cutting up audio. So these red regions here are all the guitar takes that have been comped and decided on, but now let's make sure that they're tight. All right, so there's a part right here that I remember being a little bit sloppy. Let's check it out. All right, so we have a timing change here. It's going from 141 to 135, and I want to make sure that these palm mutes are all landing where they should be landing. So the first thing we're going to do before we start making our cuts is making sure that we're not dragging the regions of the rest of the song around with it. So we're just going to make a little cut here, and now we're going to be able to work this audio. So check out the pick attack on the rhythm guitar left. That's pretty good. This pick attack is lagging behind a little bit. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a cut right at the beginning of this pick attack, and I'm going to drag this region back right about to where the other one is. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it should be pretty close. So let's see where the next one lands. So both these guitars are slightly early. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut here. I'm going to make a cut here. I'm going to drag this one back a little bit. I'm going to drag this one back a little bit more. This next one should land right here. This one should also be dragged back a little bit. So should this. This one can come back a little bit. This one can come back a little bit. This one has to get pushed forward a little bit. This one also. These both need to come back. I'm going to cut that there. I'm going to cut that there. I'm going to bring this one back just a little bit. But this is overlapping now, so I want to drag this back. This one's got to come back. Again, we're overlapping here, so I want to bring this back. Make sure I'm not cutting off that pick attack there. Let's listen back to how this sounds, see if it's on time. Sounds on time to me, but we have all these gaps, these choppy gaps in the audio. So what we're going to do is, you could sit here and drag all these back manually, but I actually have a keyboard shortcut for this. So I'm going to select all of these. And if I hit this, it's going to drag all the regions back to be touching the region before. Then I'm going to select the regions before that, as well as these. I'm going to hit my crossfade shortcut, and now all these regions should be pretty flawless. Let's check it out. Now, another quick fix for a part that's loose is borrowing from another section of the song. Now, some of you guys are going to be mad at me for this, but don't shoot the messenger. I got news for you. This happens on almost all of the songs that you listen to in heavy music, and guess what? You didn't notice. So the beginning of this breakdown here, it doesn't sound tight. It sounds sloppy. You could even hear the rhythm right. The pick attack starts before the actual downbeat. So what I'm going to do is delete these. And I'm going to come over here where I know I have another one. These are tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this right on the grid and float it over here. Now, we can't stop there because, again, we can't cut off the pick attack. So we're going to bring it back over and make sure that the pick attack isn't cut off. They look good in both spots. This guitar part might need to come over a little bit. This guitar part might need to extend. We're in good shape here. So let's listen to the transition now from the part that we edited into the new floated over palm mute. Way tighter. Once again, let's do a before and after. So here's the original part that we edited into the opening of the breakdown. And here's the floated over quintuplet palm mute. It just sounds tighter. And the most important thing is that the song sounds great. It's not like that part wasn't performed. Now that you have two really tight DI performances, it's time to make them sound good. If you want an in-depth look at how I reamp guitars for crushing tones, watch this video next. It's my advanced technique for getting bands unique guitar tones that absolutely rip. Check it out. I'll see you there.